Do you have younger ones in the family and you want to introduce them to board games that aren't just snakes and ladders?
Well, we've got 10 suggestions for you to teach to a younger player or to children who are brand new to board gaming.
Hi, I'm Libby, this is Julian, and together we are BoxedMeeples, and today we are talking about family games. This list is specifically for maybe younger children or children that are newer to board gaming, slightly easier player level. We are going to do another one that's slightly more advanced but still child friendly, but today we thought we'd start off with the more beginner level. Now, I do think children's game aging.
Yes. I mean, every child is different.
Yeah.
We know this. So what might be suitable for a slightly older child might be evenly accessible to a younger child who's played different games, similar games.
Yeah.
So we're not going to talk about specifically age focused games.
No, we will put the age recommendation from the publisher in the strap there, but do bear in mind that we play with approximately 10-year-olds and they enjoy playing games that say 5+ and they also play games that say 14+. So I just think you have to take it with a pinch of salt and think about what your child likes, what they're into, and see whether they work for you. Our number 10 game is Ubongo. Specifically in this one we've said Junior, because we are looking at that younger child, which has the animals on it, and it has the bit at the side that sort of says what animal you might need to complete it, so it is quite a bit easier. I will say that one is too easy for your children, so they do play different versions of the Ubongo. You can see there is a base one, a travel one, a 3D one if you want to go really difficult. So just maybe have a look in those and see what would best fit your family. But it's polyominoes, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Ubongo is a great way of introducing the idea of polyomino placing. Basically, here's a puzzle. It's never changing puzzle where you're always using the same pieces. So that's once a child gets a grasp on what the options are and they realise they can rotate or switch, and even when they're told use this combination to solve this puzzle, you still have that satisfying click moment where it all literally pieces together. Now, a little gem of a game we found is called Starlink. Now, in this game, you are creating your own constellations in the sky by linking together stars. And you're told what to do with this, and all you have to do in a given time is draw, using a white marker on your star chart, a version of that by only linking up with straight lines. Straight lines,
there's where it's tricky.
And, obviously, when someone else guesses it, you get a point, they get a point. It's that kind of familiar, almost kind of Pictionary style. What is also fun is that you have a little telescope kind of viewing window. And if you manage to fit your constellation within that window, you get bonus points.
Yes, and it's trickier than you think. Just drawing something as simple as like a t-shirt or something, because the stars are sort of randomly placed that you're drawing, and it's the straight lines to them that you try and do your t-shirt. It's like, oh well, this arm's like this huge, and then the other arm's like this big. Are you still going to get
it? What's really great about at Starlink is that at the end of it, you have this lovely star chart, which is like kind of your family star chart, and then you don't have to wipe it off immediately. And you can just kind of look at it, and it's quite fun to just go, the old classic t-shirt constellation there. It's near the elephant. And we've had lots of fun playing this.
Yeah.
Really readily available to get, really quite cheap. And a lot of fun. Yeah.
Because you're linking the stars as well with the straight lines, no one has to feel like, well, I can't do this because I'm not good at art. Because you can't. You're drawing, but you can't draw.
You can't. Yeah.
So.
No one's going to make a perfect constellation. I don't think it's possible with the formation of the stars.
Yeah.
So everyone's going to do a slightly skewed version of what they're meant to be doing, and in that lies humour.
So that's fun. Our number 8 is Aqualin, and it's a 2-player game. So if you have the opportunity to sit against a child, or if you've got 2 children that would enjoy playing together, and this game, I will say, isn't just for kids. It's a great game for any two-player to play. It's a fun little jewel of can you mess somebody else up and help yourself at the same time. And you've got these lovely little sea creatures, all different colours, so visually it looks lovely. They're so tactile, the pieces that you're placing on the board, and one of you is needing to put the same animal next to each other and the other one is needing to put the same colour together. I will say, if it's adult versus child, I think that visually it's easier for a younger child to put the same animals together. So it might be worth considering that, depending on your child, obviously. I have played this recently with a 6-year-old and he got on really well with it, really enjoyed it. You basically get to move a tile that's on the board, place a new tile, and then you refresh the pool that you're picking from, and play continues. So it's super quick to learn and how it works, but really thinking about, if I move that there, that will affect this, that, and they'll still be able to move it on their next turn and things like that. So it really gets them sort of forward thinking and double guessing, which is fun.
And I think a game like Aqualin is great because it's so quick to play. Often people might get intimidated, or particularly young children might get intimidated if you're going to be saying, well, we're going to sit down and play a game for an hour. Often what's better is to have a shorter game that they immediately get, and then they can have a repeated game, a best of 3 really situation. And that this game works really well for that.
And as I say, it will go right the way through into adulthood.
There's an appealing nature to some board games where you have a spectacle, a big event that happens. And in the game Niagara, the big event that happens is your boats fall off the side of the board.
If you don't plan well.
It's a really clever game where you have the river running, and as you're moving translucent circles along these little panels, the boats get pushed along, and you've got to choose where you're moving your boats to collect gems and avoid going over the side of Niagara. It's a fun, accessible game for really any ages, but because you're all aiming for the same thing, you're all essentially doing the same actions, I found it's really easy to teach younger children as well.
And I think they really love putting in the discs to let the river flow. And obviously it's super exciting when your canoe comes home and you've got a gem and all of that. But, when we've played with children, they're always wanting to take turns to make the river run this time. And will anyone's canoe go off the edge? It's super exciting, super fun. But also, it teaches them some different things about which colour gem do they want to collect when and things like that. So, super fun family game. And you use the box in order to create the sort of slope, so it's super easy to set up.
Now, if you do need to make it simpler for first time play, what we have done in the past is, rather than you have to get 1 of each gem, we've said, first person to get 6 gems wins.
There's quite a few options for winning conditions in the instructions, which is super handy.
So you can really tell, certainly early games, to different play styles, different approaches to it, and indeed make it harder for adults and easier for children.
Okay, so for our number 6, we couldn't quite decide which one to go for. So we've kind of cheated a little bit and put 2 on. In our family, just because the artwork and the fact that it includes donuts, we would say go nuts for donuts. This can be a little bit ruthless in that if you keep always picking the same donut as someone else at the table, no one's getting any donuts. So if you feel like that's going to be a problem with the children that you might be playing with, and someone might get a bit upset about not having enough donuts in front of them, then Sushi Go Party is also a great option here. And you've got the drafting mechanism there instead, but gaining points, card party, we've had such a great fun with these sorts of games.
These pair of games is very simple to explain, and they've got both of them have beautiful art, so they do look child friendly, but yet isn't a children's game that adults aren't going to enjoy playing. We've certainly enjoyed playing these games with adults alone, so it does have a family vibe to it. And yes, they can be somewhat frustrating, particularly going up for donuts, where you don't win and you don't understand what you're doing wrong. But once it begins to resonate and you begin to understand the different approaches, that's when you start going, well, I know you want that, because a lot of it is open. So then you start doing, well, I'm going to have to block you to stop you winning. And you don't necessarily have that so much in Sushi Go, where you're passing the cards around. But both of these teach how cards aren't just, suits of playing cards, how they can be used in different ways in different games to, perform a different function. And that's always fun.
Yeah, super fun games.
What do children like?
Destruction.
Children like destroying things, it seems. Rhino Hero Super Battle is an absolute gem of a game. In it, you are basically building a massive structure that is inevitably going to tumble. And when it does, you want to make sure that you're not the one who is causing it to tumble.
And you're at the top.
And that you're at the top, because whoever is at the top at the point when it tumbles, presuming they didn't make it tumble, they are the glorious winner. It's so simple to play. You've got a choice of 3 levels, and that dictates which support structures you can put in there. As we said with other games, there are ways to make it easier for children than for adults. When we play it, adults can only use one hand. They have to have their hand behind the back. We've had it where we played it with a very young child, and we said, well, don't worry about having to hang the monkeys on there. Just ways to make it all fun, but it really doesn't matter, because it's a game you are playing and getting over and done with in less than 10 minutes. And then,
depending on how good your sort of dexterity is, I think.
And then the tower collapses, everyone has a laugh, you build it again, and then on the second turn, no one remembers who won the previous game. You're just having fun about building this tower again. It's a really great fun game to play, and if you see it in the shops, it's like a modern, more fun, more skilled version of Jenga.
Yeah, and a great party game again for adults too. If you're in the mood for some real laughs and giggles, great for that thing. You can get Rhino Hero as well as Rhino Hero Super Battle. We would definitely recommend that you get the Super Battle version. I think it's bigger, better, brighter, wider.
More fun.
So if you have the option, go all in. But I'm sure that the other one is super fun as well. So at number 4 is, hey, that's my fish. Which is really fun. There's cute penguins and there's fishy tiles to go collect. Fisher points basically, and you are moving around and you end up taking off some of the icebergs, so you can, if you're good at this game, isolate people onto little islands where they then can't come back.
Nothing worse than being isolated on an island. But yeah, it's a simple game where 4 of you can play at once, moving your fleet of penguins, your troop of penguins, basically in a straight line.
Yeah.
And you stop at any point, and greedy people go, there's 3 fish there, I'm going to take that because that's going to get me 3 points at the end of the game. Tactical people will go, I'm going to go to that 1 point because that's going to create a peninsula with your penguins stuck on it.
Yeah, and if you can manage to mash those 2 plays together, you're really doing well at this one. But yeah, we've played this with quite a range of ages of children, and it's gone down well with all of them. The penguin meeples probably help. And it's a nice, the more modern version is quite a nice compact box, so it's great for travel and when you're out and about with family and things, something fun to play. So a really fun one.
Now, in this world where children are glued to their tablets, to their phones, their electrical devices, sometimes you just want to have a bit of family time where you all gather around the table. And what better way of saying, hey, let's play a game on the table that's exactly the same as the game you're playing on your tablet right now, but at least we're not staring at screens, is Potion Explosion. Basically, this is Candy Crush in tabletop form.
Yeah.
You're plucking marbles from a plate of marbles, and if the one you remove then causes 2 to collect, you can take those as well. And then you can have cascading things of marbles hitting together and creating groups of marbles, and as you collect those, you're placing them onto your potions to try and complete set tasks. Once you complete a potion, you get a special skill. That's good, and then you can use that to maximise future turns. And if you get particularly stuck, you can ask for the professor's help and take 2 marbles, which is great. It's easy to explain. I just have, and we've played it with a range of ages, and it's fun spectacle again to see these marbles cascading down, banging into each other, and there's an immediate kind of cause and effect of you physically taking something and seeing that do something. Often kind of more abstract games are kind of hard to grasp, but this is literally right in front of you. And yeah, we've always had fun playing this game.
Such a great moment when you've like managed to do a really good cascade and you've got like a handful of marbles to place on your board, and it's like, didn't I do well? And so tactile, aren't they?
Yeah.
Those marbles feel great, and I do think, you know, with the slightly younger kids, having something like that you're actioning that feels good is really fun. Yeah.
And if your family are fans of a particular boy wizard, this one is going to be right up your street.
Definitely. So our number 2 best game for beginner / younger children family games is Kingdomino. Such a great game. It's so simple and easy, but you've got some great thinking to go on in this one, really. It really teaches people something different about drafting and things like that. It does work like a normal domino. They've got different sides on them, but they're each different types of terrain, and you want to mix those together and make the groups together. And you're also learning a little bit of maths, because if they've got the crowns on them, they're going to be earning you points, so you're going to be timesing the number of terrain that you have sat together of that same type by the number of crowns that are in that area once you've placed the tiles, and that's how you're going to get the points. And it's interesting because if you are the person to pick first, you'll then get to choose from the next lot of tiles that you can see which one you want, and if your one is down the bottom, then the following turn you're going to be last to pick which tile you want. So it's an interesting sort of, do you go for the tile you most want, or do you go for the tile that's top of the list that will give you the best options next time? So it's really fun, and you just sort of make out your little kingdom. I know children have had fun just playing kingdoms with them and making different places, almost like you would in a video game, like making your little world together.
Yeah,
so it's really nice.
I think the fact it's so attractive on the table really helps. I mean, at the end of it, you can sit back and you are defined by a certain grid size, which is, you know, adds an element of complexity, but not excessively so. You are able to then see, well, okay, this is where my waters are going, this is where my wood is, and you start creating magical journeys for yourself. And what's great is there's a range of games in this series, so once you get the hang of Kingdomino, you've got Queendomino, you've got Dragomino, and you can then build on those basic premises that were introduced in the first game and then see how it expands, and often that then leads you onto increasingly more complicated, more, you know, varied games. Now, our number 1 game for young children, or for introducing children to board games, starts with a simple chant. Release the egg, release the egg, release that egg. We are, of course, talking about Dodo from Cosmos Games. Now, in this game, you are protecting the last Dodo egg, which happens to be atop a mountain. To do this, you've got to build structures that support the egg as it travels on its inevitable journey down to oblivion and death and the seas of this mountain. But fortunately, if you're successful, you will have a boat there waiting to safely carry the egg away. Now, that sounds exciting on its own, but what is special about this game is the wibbly wobbly egg.
It's an interesting being with its own mind. It's not like any other egg. I mean, it moves in very magical ways.
Sometimes it stops, sometimes it goes really quickly. Who's to tell what's going on there? But to be successful, you've got to, it's a matching game.
What you have to do in the game is match what you've rolled on the dice to the symbol that's on the tiles. And as you flip them over, if you match the bamboo or the plank or whatever it is, you can pop that onto the bridge. And once you've completed the bridge, which is separated into normal mode and hard mode, so you can choose what mode that you might want, you can then, once you've finished it, pop it into the mountain and help put the next section that the egg is going to drop down. And the egg, I think, sometimes gets quicker and quicker as it goes down, and the excitement ramps up and up and up as you're getting towards the end of the game, and everyone's sort of, quickly, it's that one, oh, it's there, and it's just such a fun and exciting game.
I think exciting is the key word here, because we've played this with...
The tension.
We played it with smaller groups. We played it with a group of 10 9-year-olds at a party. Yes. And the absolute joy on that craze as they all gathered around trying to collectively remember where everything was, and when they're successful in saving that egg, the pleasure was palpable. And so much so that I think the majority of parents who are there with their children were asking us, where's this game come from and how do we get it? They didn't even know these kind of style of games existed. So it's so fantastic to open their eyes to a possibility of a fun experience. And in fact, I think every time we've played it with new people, that's led on to them wanting to know more about not just Dodo, but these styles of games. So as an entryway into a hobby, it's fantastic. As a group entertaining mode, fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, if a game can get itself through a child's party, you know it's done okay.
Oh, and that's the highlight. What people are talking about the next day, you know you're onto.
Yeah, and we have played it with children younger than the recommended age, and yes, they haven't got fully into it, but certainly enjoying throwing the dice and seeing what happens. But yeah, quite a wide range of children, and I mean, to be honest, I think towards the end of the night, an adult party could be quite hilarious as well. And you can also change the difficulty with the wild cards that are in there. So if you are playing with adults or older children, if you take a few of the wild cards out, make it a little bit harder, then it ramps up the tension as well. Or as opposite, if you've got some younger children, do the easier mode, make sure all the wild cards are in, then they've got that sense of success.
So hopefully our list of 10 games have helped you pick a future board game for you to introduce to a young child or to children who haven't played these sort of games before.
Yes, we would love to hear from you if you've got suggestions. Obviously, we enjoy playing games as a family, so if you have extra suggestions for us, that'd be fantastic. And of course, as we mentioned at the beginning of the video, we will be doing a second video with our top 10 for slightly more advanced play, still for family friendly, maybe slightly older children or ones that are more familiar with board gaming. Then we have another top 10 list coming, so do click the notifications for that and you will get a little bell alert when that one comes live.
If you've enjoyed what we're doing, hopefully you have, please consider subscribing to our channel. We post a board game video at least twice a week, always talking about different styles of games that you can play with families or indeed with couples, or covering a range of different styles and genres of board games, because it's a big hobby out there that a lot of people don't realise.
It is indeed. So that's it from us today, and we will see you next time.
Thanks so much for watching.
Bye.